Hello, welcome to my channel. The main rule for the quilting is that there are no rules. You will learn, you will watch others, and you will find the methods and ways of quilting that works for you. And that's the most important thing, because you need to find what works for you to be able to enjoy the process. What you will see is my process of working with different materials and different designs, and I hope some of those tips and tricks will help you in your own journey. Hi Southampton quilters, this is block 8 of our quilt along. Today we'll be making a wonky corner lock cabins, and we need 8 of those for the quilt. I'm making 2 quilts, so I will make 16. I usually use 2 methods when I want to make them, and this is the method 1. So for that we will need a starter, which is a small square. So just keep in mind that our blocks are 6.5 inches, which means they are quite small. So you probably want to start with quite small square inside to add then very narrow strips around it to make it look colorful. However, I do not know what your quilt design is like, and maybe you just want to have a 2.5 inch square as a starter, and then use 2.5 strips to just have 3 kind of layers around it in total. So go with whatever your quilt is kind of giving you design for. Now both of my quilts I'm making with that quilt along are scrappy, so I will be starting with a small square. This one is about 2 inches or probably less. I just have a small box with those small squares, so I'll just pick 8 of them. So in the method number 1, what we will do is we are taking your starter block, and I have a pile here, like huge pile of strings, and they are not the one I cut to any particular size. They are just mixed strings from my working with scraps method. So whatever is out left after I cut my pieces into the specific sizes I normally use, this is all in the one bucket, and I just pulled it out, and I will be taking out the pieces from it. So I will be chain piecing it, and obviously I would recommend you do the same, because that speed up the time. It's very this is very user-friendly method, because we will be squaring up those blocks at the end. That means whatever you do while you're working on it, it all kind of evens it out at the end. So just have fun with it. And like I said, I will just chain piece. So I've got some shorter strings in my pile, so I will start obviously from those, and then as I progress I will need bigger and bigger. And also it's probably useful to have a 6.5 inch ruler if you have one, or bigger. Just mark yourself where your 6.5 inch is, so when you're building up your block, when you get to the point that your block is a little bit bigger than what you need, you can take it and square it up. Also, what I would recommend is have a spray starch. That's very good when you're working with any scrappy blocks. In your last ironing, just spray it nicely and iron it with the starch. It will make your cutting or squaring up much easier. So let's crack on. I am not using a 1/4 inch foot. You can if you want, but because we are going to square up the blocks at the end, it's it's not important what seam allowance you are using. You can use any seam allowance you want. Now I did the first round, and to be honest, at this point of time I'm not even taking it to the ironing board yet. This is the beauty of wonky blocks, that you can actually speed up the process by not ironing yet at the very beginning of the blocks, and to use scissors to cut down the individual pieces. This is not a precision work at this point of time. The only precise moment will be at the very end when you want to square it up. So just have fun with it, and you know, you will see you can make a lot of blocks very quickly if you kind of just, you know, go with the flow of that. Those type of blocks are very good if you have lots of string, so perhaps instead of making string blocks, which I've got video about it as well, you can try those. It's a good method to use them up as well. The size of the string you want to use will depend on the your starter block, and also how big block will be at the end, because if the blocks you're making are small, I would say go with the smaller strings, narrower strings. And then if you want to make a big blocks, you can perhaps put some smaller strings first and then add up the bigger ones, so to build up the blocks quicker at the end. But again, it's a preference and depend on what look you're after. And if you want to do that instead of cramps or string blocks, then you just, you know, have fun and experiment. Okay, so I will take my next string. I probably still can go with those shorter ones. Finished the round 2, still not taking it to the ironing board, but if you feel like you have to go and you know, get them caught and iron them. The size of the strips, I probably have about an inch, the smallest one, but if you have more like narrower ones, just adjust your seam allowance to smaller and you can use those ones as well. Again, preference and how much time you want to spend on one of the block, that's all what it is. And let's just quickly cut them. Okay, so we are making the corner ones, so that means I will be now adding back on this side, not, you know, I'm not going this way anymore. Those two sides are going to stay empty. So let's crack on with the third round. Okay, so you've got now an idea where we're going with it. So you just carry on, make your blocks, and I will see you back when I get to the point where I want to square them up, and I will show you how they look. Alright, so I finished sewing my blocks, and now it's time to square them up. So they should be all big enough now to square them up to 6.5 inch, and I'm trying to match my corner here with that first square I had. Doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously I want to have a perfect 6.5 inch, but it doesn't have to be perfect here. If you know, if it's something is wonky there, I just square it up as well. That's one. Okay. So I will carry on squaring up all the remaining blocks, and I will show you how they look with the quilt and where do they go within the pattern. Okay, so this is one of my quilts, and you can see here where those corner blocks are going. So we have a 4 at the top, and then we have a 4 in the same places at the bottom. Okay, I also set up those blocks differently, so you can see if you use the same, you know, color in the middle, you can make a nice, like a box type of the block, and then you can have like ongoing blocks around if you want to. I'll just mix them up and they look good as well. Probably if you're using very colorful fabrics like I did, you may like to add some sashings around as well to bring it out. But to be fair, I like it the way it is, and that's probably going to be my next block for my next jacket. So if you like it, just watch the space. But it's very nice and easy block to do, and you can use up all the scraps, and you don't have to worry about any consistency with seams or anything like that, because you're squaring the block at the end before you use it, so makes so much easier. So I hope you enjoyed that short tutorial. For those from Southampton Quilters group who are making the quilt, obviously we'll have a block 9 in a couple of weeks. And for those who are not following the full process but just looking at the blocks, I hope it will be helpful for you to make those wonky blocks. I will be showing the method 2 in next video, so if you're interested in that part, please subscribe to not miss that. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to my channel to support my work. For further inspiration and examples of my work, you can check my Instagram or Facebook page. Happy creating!